Welcome back once again to the You Should Get a License podcast, your number one source for information, education, inspiration on the most underrated career opportunity in business today. That is a career in financial services, in the insurance industry. And today we got a giant. We got a giant in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Look, this is someone who, many people can really model a whole career afterwards. He is an award-winning, certified financial fiduciary. We're going to get into what that means. A member of the $1 Million Roundtable. We're going to get into what that means. He is a multiple award-winning $1 million producer, agency owner, IMO co-agency owner, technology CEO, author, speaker, teacher, just an amazing individual, a true legend, in our industry, Mr. Douglas Eze. Douglas, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Hey, look, when we were just kind of getting ready here, I was showing the book, Creating Generational Wealth, which is a must read for anybody in this industry, not just people in this industry, but just anybody, period, just to get your intellectual capital up, to get your mind right when it comes to, building that legacy of generational wealth. And I know that it's something that you're incredibly passionate about and speak a lot about on your platforms. Before we kind of dig in, I'm gonna take it back, because here at You Should Get a License, what we talk to is, we speak to people who are looking to maybe get into this industry or are new in the industry, and they're exploring, the different opportunities that may exist. So they may have had a conversation with someone, they may have not pulled the trigger, or maybe they're just getting started trying to figure out, where they want to go. So I'd like to just take a moment and turn it over to you, and you can just share, what your area of expertise is, and what you are helping people and other agents with on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, definitely, man. Being in this industry, when I first started 25 years ago, one thing that we continue to see even till today is the fact that there's not enough training, in the industry. So when you get your license, you're like pretty much in a lot of situations, you're on your own. And so what we do with our company, with American Classic, which is a company that I'm a part owner of, also have Lago Financial Services. But what we do is we just basically believe in training agents, teaching them the ropes so they understand how to really sit in front of a customer and close deals, right? And do it the correct way and help the client be more productive and active in the fact of this wealth building scenario, because everyone wants to create wealth or build wealth for their family or protect it for some reason. But the problem we've seen is there's not enough money left after everything else, because they're already stretched out. So we teach our agents how to be what we call 5-star agent. So they're able to cover everything when it comes to financial services, insurance, planning for the future, all that.
Absolutely. So really, your agency with Largo Financial Services, up in Maryland, and then, ACA, American Classic, it's really a focus on financial strategies that incorporate, life insurance and life insurance carrier products, those types of products, right? So in that space.
Exactly.
Okay. No, wonderful. And I want to ask you about this. This is something that I wanted to mention, actually, when we set the calendar. Nowadays on social media, right, you have, a high influx of, people speaking about, financial literacy, financial education, a lot of the information coming in like quick sound bites, right? So it's almost sounding like, oh, I can instantly do this. And all of a sudden I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna have my own bank, just like this. Can you share some insight on what these processes look like in real life, not in the 1-minute clip on TikTok or Instagram?
So, I mean, everything is a process. Everything is time. There's no secret sauce to just starting a business and all of a sudden, boom, you become wealthy. You gotta pay the price. You gotta get into understand the business. One thing I always hear people talk about, don't work hard, work smart. I do this. I'm able to streamline my business now. Let me teach you how to do the same thing so you could, get a virtual assistant. All this stuff sounds good, but when you're not making any money, when you're broke, how are you going to afford to do that? Right? How can you afford to have all those things? It's so difficult to get into that world. So one thing that we teach is making sure that people understand that, it's not a matter of starting a business today. You got to pay the price. You got to do what it takes. So you understand what business that you're in. I remember when I first got started, I was going from one station, metro, because I'm in the DC area, so we have a train station here. So I ride the train station from one end to the other, getting people to fill out surveys about college education planning, stand in front of the metro and getting families as they come out and just talk to them about filling out a survey for their children's college, doing those things. So you got to put in the hard work before then once you understand the hard work, then it's easier to keep it simple and break. But you got to go through the process or else somebody's going to take advantage of you, right? Because if you don't know what it is that you're doing, there's always somebody that's going to take advantage of you, tell you that, oh yeah, just come in, buy this course real quick and you're going to become a millionaire. They're becoming a millionaire on your back, so be careful before you jump out there and all that stuff. You got to, there's no shortcuts in this industry.
That's right.
Especially in the financials, we're a regulated industry, so your licensing is very important. Unless you just want to lose your license, then go ahead and do the shady stuff out there. But if you want to stay in this business a long term, become a student of the business.
Absolutely.
Become a student of the business.
Absolutely. Friend of mine, we had a conversation a couple weeks ago. He said, once you get your license, then you can start your education.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true though, because everything we learn in the class when we're studying to get our license sounds good, but that doesn't teach you how to sell the product.
That's right.
To understand the different product that different insurance companies have. So it's your job, your duty to understand it and know it. And know it because you know it, not because your manager said. A lot of agents they're getting, whatever my manager says what's going to be. No, you need to learn the business. Not because of what your company is saying. If your company is pushing one product, you need to see that they're pushing the product because of the profit for them, right? So those are the things we talk about.
See, the gems have already started to be dropped. Don't just listen to your manager, your upline. Get it from the source. Be a student of the business. Be a student of the industry. It's already starting. See, I already knew this was going to be a good one. I already knew this was going to be going. So you're not only licensed. You have security. You have your securities licensing, and you're certified financial fiduciary. What does that mean, and what is the difference from that certification versus just being a licensed agent?
Yeah, so I actually let my securities license go years ago.
Okay.
Because with my securities license, I couldn't get on, XM radio, TV, and speak. Why? Because, it's regulated. They want to monitor you and manage what you do and how you do it. So I didn't want to be controlled anymore because, I'm from West Africa, Nigeria. I'm an Igbo guy. I didn't come to this country in a boat or nothing. I voluntarily came so nobody can hold me hostage. And I have to open up my mouth and talk, right? So I let my securities license go because I just didn't want that control.
That's good to know. That's
freedom. Yeah. And so, but I did get my certification as a fiduciary because that's different. You know, a lot of people think just because you have a securities license means you're a certified financial fiduciary. No, you're not. You just have a securities license. That's just a registration. So I actually studied and took a test, took an exam, and went through the compliance and got a certification that says I'm a certified financial fiduciary, because you got to get that. So, but I just did that because, you know, kind of set me apart from everybody else, you know, not just having the life insurance license, but also taking the step further so that the clients and the people that I'm working with, if they want to work with a certified financial fiduciary, you know, I'll be that person that they could do it with.
Absolutely. And that kind of just creates a deeper level of trust too, because they know that, hey, you're someone who is going to be looking out, not specifically for your interest, but for their best interest.
Exactly.
In that certification. No, so I just wanted to, I said that, you know, in the introduction, but, you know, for the benefit of those who are listening, I just wanted to make sure that they understood, you know, what that designation, you know, really meant, you know. So look, you know, you got a lot of accolades, and, you know, when you walk into a room in this industry, people know who you are. If somebody checks out your social media, they know how you living, they know what's going on. I want to go way back. You talked about, you know, coming from Nigeria. I'm 39% Nigerian, by the way.
Awesome.
You know, yeah. So, I love it. You talked about coming from Nigeria. Take me back. 9 years old, 10 years old. You know, Douglas, Izzy. What were you dreaming about being when you grew up?
Man, you know, growing up in Nigeria, you know, going to school and everything, but I've always wanted, you know, my dad was an entrepreneur. Actually, he was an entrepreneur on, you know, some businesses, transportation business. And, you know, I wanted to be, I knew I wasn't going to go to college. I knew it wasn't just cut out for me. And not because I didn't want to go, I did want to go. But in Nigeria, going to college, you got to take this. This is an exam that you got to take, right? You know, final exam. That is like the killer. Because studying in Africa is different from studying here, right? You know, in Africa, they don't tell you what the test is going to come out from. You know, you have to study the whole book, memorize.
Wow.
People memorize.
You have like practice exams, or
they don't know what's that.
Nice. Okay.
And you got to memorize everything. Memorize, bro. So it wasn't, you know, so it's a different ballgame. So I knew, I was like, man, and then after you do all that, then you go to college, then they go on strike. The professors go on strike because they ain't get paid yet. So I'm like, man, this is not for me, man. Yeah. So my whole dream and vision was to get to America, man. Just, you know, watching Soul Train and seeing all the brothers and sisters in there getting it on, dancing, doing what they do. I'm like, man, I gotta come to America.
You trying to get in that Soul Train line?
Exactly. Right? Yes. So you know, that was the motivation for me to just leave, and you know, just seeing people come back from abroad, and they, you know, I didn't care where they went, you know, Italy, wherever. Just see that they just have a different feel, you know. But when the people that come from America come back, the skin is different. It's not like everybody else. You can come from Europe, you know, London, Belgium, whatever. But you know, when an American come back, the skin, especially the skin, is different. It looks different. It's like silk. It's nice. It's nice.
It's all right. It's the well water.
Exactly. So yeah, man. But no, I mean, but there's opportunity here, man, that if you just take your time and forget all the noise that people are making out there, you know, and just focus, man, the sky is the beginning for you.
I like that. Sky's the beginning.
Yeah, man.
I like that. So for you, when you were young, you were like, hey, you know, your dad is already an entrepreneur. you knew you wanted to, get to America. You kind of saw, people, coming back, and, there was something that they had gained there. You weren't going to do the college thing, in Nigeria. What was it like? When did you come to the States? And, kind of what was your first experience kind of coming to this country?
Yeah, so I left Nigeria when I was 18 years old, just right after high school. So
Okay.
after high school, I left. I went to Canada first, lived in Canada for a little bit, but I was like, man, I gotta get to the US. So I came across the border, man, just like everyone else, illegally, just sneaked in and came in, found my way in. One way or the other, we're coming in.
Right.
I'm coming in, and I did. I mean, I got in. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm here now. So just, doing odd jobs, doing paper routes and different things, and then got a job waiting table at IHOP, and back then things were a little bit easier. It's not like today where it's a little bit tougher now, to actually get something going or getting a social security card. Back in the day, you could just go to to the social security office and say, hey, I want to open up a bank account. And they give you get a social security number to go open up an account. You can't do that today.
Just like that.
Yeah. So it's easier, but today is different because the idiots messed up with September 11. They messed up everything for So, but it's high security now, and makes it easier for you to, back then for me it was easier, but also it was still tough because you couldn't really do so much. But I started as a bus boy, at the back, washing dishes and stuff like that, and just doing what I needed to do. And then they told me, hey, you should wait table and get some tips and stuff. All right, cool. So I started doing that, and from there, somebody gave me their business card to get into the financial service industry, and that's how I got introduced to the insurance business. And today it's just been, was the best decision ever. Yeah. And from there, I just took it and wanted to be different. I didn't want to be like every financial advisor in the industry. I knew there was something different. There was something else that is out there. So I said, you know what? I'm going to think outside the box, and I'm going to study wealthy people and see how the wealthy operate. And I started studying wealthy families just to see what do they do different. How is it that somebody is 65, 70 years old is still driving a Lamborghini or a Cadillac? I'm like, what did they do differently from the guy that is working within a Walmart at age 65?
How old are you at this point?
About 24, 25.
24. Okay. All right.
So that changed the game for me. That just helped a lot, just studying and researching, and you should start seeking information. The mentors start showing up. And the first mentor that I found was a gentleman that had a book that he wrote called he had a website called Tax Secrets of the Wealthy. And I tapped into his website and found a book that he wrote and I paid $4,000 for that book. I mean, the man called me at 10 o'clock at night one day. I asked him, why did you purchase the book? He was going to send me back my money. So he said, what made you buy the book? I said, well, you said Tax Secrets of the Wealthy. So I was interested. I need to know he said, but do you have money? I'm like, no, I don't have money. I don't have money like that. He said, because a lot of people that get this are ultra high net worth families, family offices. They get his stuff because he's an attorney. He's a licensed insurance agent. He's a real estate agent. I mean, the guy is well rounded. He just consult because he asked me how old I think he was. I say, you sound like you're in your 60s. He said, no, I'm 75 years old. So he's since passed. We became, friends as well as, I went ahead and worked with him on sudden, brought some clients to him because he worked with very, very successful people. So I had a very successful client that I brought to him. And that was my first time, seeing how people on a high level operate, and I got to see everything from the start to the finish, working with ultra wealthy families. and what he did for them and all that stuff. And then, it was a game changer. That was my first time making a huge amount of money in commission because we got to split the sale on the insurance side. And then, because they set up trust and a bunch of stuff, high level trust, not just a living trust. That was the first person that taught me about there's a difference between an estate planning and wealth planning.
Okay, tell us the difference here, because estate planning, wealth, if you can, in a synopsis.
So estate planning is just planning for estate. That's where you do the regular living trust, those things. A lot of people don't know the difference between, because there's about 80 different types of trust. So just to keep it real simple, there's trusts that just are good for probate avoidance, to avoid probate.
Right.
They don't protect asset. And then there's trusts that are asset protection trust and probate avoidance trust. So big difference. So when you really want to create wealth planning, which is why creating generational wealth is so important. When you want to do wealth planning, you want to get an asset protection and probate avoidance trust on the highest level and on the forensic level, because you want to keep everything, you want to keep your business separate from your personal, which a lot of people don't understand. So first, how do I own my business to make sure I could pass it on to my children without them worrying about gift tax, estate tax, and all this stuff? Well, it's all about how you're structured, because at the end of the day, your social security, you as a human being, you are an estate. So that's just you. That's why they do estate planning on you. If I want to do wealth planning, it don't have to be me. It's outside of me.
Right.
It's wealth planning. How do I protect that wealth? How do I make sure that the wealth continues to grow forevermore, right? While I'm dead and gone. That's wealth planning, not just estate planning.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for that. Now, look. So I'm curious. You were in Canada. You came to the U.S. You're working at IHOP. Now, did you have any family in the States?
No, man.
So just you. This is just
me. Yeah, I have a documentary that just came out called The African Millionaires in America. Millionaires in America. So great documentary, kind of shared a little bit and some things that people didn't know about me. How, I slept in my car, those things, and woke up in the morning, go to a Motel 6 and take a shower, and all that. So, you just got to keep pushing. I was just happy to be in America. Everything else will work itself out.
Wow. I'm glad you mentioned that, because once again, sometimes people see where you are, like where you've gone to with you and with others, but they don't realize the journey along the way, to really get to that point. So you're working at IHOP. You meet someone there, they give you a card, says, hey, look, come get into this business. He says you should get a license. Right? And then you start. How did you kind of get going? Like, how you said you saw the first commission, most money you'd ever made. What was the first opportunity? So you bought the book for $4,000, and then he decided he was going to work with you because you bought this book.
Yeah. So that was like, so when I first got started, right? I was riding the metro from one end to the other with my manager, the lady that that introduced me to the business.
Okay.
So I went for the interview. She told me, you gotta get your license. I said, all right, cool. I'm gonna work to get that. And she said, but in the meantime, let's go see some people. Do you have a list of warm market? I said, no, I didn't have any warm market. I didn't have anyone here. She said, well, that's the only way we could see people, because our business is about seeing the people. So I found a survey in the office that she showed me, and I took that survey and I made more copies of it. And I started riding the metro. So I got about 100 of them filled out. And I called her. I said, hey, I got all these surveys. She was so excited. And we called the list and we went and saw people. And we closed everybody, because I just watched her close and I just kept quiet because I was a student, I'm learning, and she closed and she wrote a check for $1,000 with my name on it. and showed it to me and said, but I can't give it to you because you're not licensed. You need to get your license and you could cash this check. I'm like, what? I studied that night and went to take that test, man, and knocked it out. Yep. And I passed that test. I passed the exam the first time. Right?
Right.
Yeah. Passed that. And then, you know, and so once I got that license, I went on some more appointments with her so I could continue to learn. And then later on, I started doing appointments on my own, started meeting people. But every time I met families, they want to save, they want to plan for the future, but they don't have no money.
Yeah.
You know, later on, I said, okay, I need to get securities license. I went and got my securities, studied and knocked that out, passed it, you know, got those license. Now I'm like, all right, now I'm a financial guy, you know, I'm in the investment world. So I started doing it. So all this time, you know, I'm 25, 26, 27, I'm making money, but I always have questions about wealthy people. How do they operate? How do they do stuff? Then as I continue, I say, man, there must be something else because this 401k ain't cutting it. Because there's a lot of people that don't have money to save. You can't be saving, you know, $300 towards your future. Yeah. You know, and then when I meet somebody, I want to do mutual fund. Oh yeah, you know, I can only put away $50. I'm like, man, these people, I mean, how are you going to retire? So I say, you know what? Let me step outside this box for a minute and figure this stuff out. How are the wealthy doing it? You know, especially when I met a lady that came to me and somebody, you know, she was 67 and she said she only had 2 more years and she's going to run out of money. And she's like, can you help me? Because, and I said, so what happened? She said, well, I'm a medical doctor. She does surgery for people, you know, but she stopped working and she was going to run out of money. She said, I did everything right. I invested heavily in my 401k. I did all that, but I'm drawing income now and I'm going to run out of money. I'm like, wow, what can I do? So that got me outside I said, you know, I got to think outside the box. I got to do something different. So I just started studying and researching wealthy people, how the wealthy operate. And that's how I ran into, you know, my mentor's website. And, you know, older man, Jewish guy, you know, but he was open to sharing knowledge. But at the same time, he didn't share a lot. You know, even the book didn't have a lot of, you know, information in there. We just had enough stuff to get your mind thinking.
Yeah.
And then I went with his book. I went and set up my own because I didn't have a will or a trust back then, you know. But then I went and I met with an attorney to set mine up. And I was asking the attorney questions about, you know, because I also had my corporation then, you know, and I was asking questions, you know, how do I have my trust on my business? Because it was in the book. You know, she's like, oh, you can't. I'm like, what do you mean you can't? Man, it says in the book. And, you know, I can't call the guy to ask the question because, you know, he's a busy guy. He's not going to take my call because he could have put in the book. So I just decided to say, you know what? I'm going to do something different. 1 second, all right?
Sure. So already bombs getting dropped here.
Yeah. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do something different. So once I got his book, I read it and I saw, man, this guy right here. All right. So I called him. I said, listen, I have a client. One of my good friends was coming from Africa, owned a bunch of hotels. And I said, man, I have a, you know, friend coming. He's wealthy, you know, maybe you could help him. He said, all right, sure. Because, you know, one thing I always tell new agents is this. If you want to learn from the best, people that are making money, more money than you, bring them a client. You know, bring them somebody. Don't just sit around and, oh, I want to get information for free. They're busy. They're not, you know, they didn't make their wealth because, you know, they just sat around and just, you know, did nothing. You know, bring a client and collaborate with them. You know, and that's how I got into the $1 Million Roundtable and all this stuff, right? Because I didn't mind splitting cases. because I believe that's knowledge. That's like going to college, really. I mean, it is going to, I'm paying for college classes, by sitting in front of somebody that knows more than me. Knowledge that I will never get from it, just, reading a book. You can read a book all you want, but you got to get out there and do the practical, and do things that everybody can do. So that's how it worked out.
Word. So so by this time you had already started Largo Financial. You had started your business.
Mm-hmm.
I want to listen. It's a phenomenal, story even up until that point. And really people, you could have just said, okay, I'm just going to kind of stay in pocket right here. I don't really need to do anything else. I'm doing okay. But I do want to kind of double back and just kind of peel back a little bit on what was the motivation, because this is kind of innovative and just really out of the box for you to go to the Metro and start getting numbers. Like how did you come up with that idea? Because I've never heard of anybody doing that. So that was just, I mean, it's just kind of, there was a lot of ingenuity, there. So what was the motivation for that?
Man, I was hungry, man. I was hungry. That's the bottom line. And, also when I saw the survey about college education, right? And I read it, it just had some bullet questions, about sending your children to college, saving for your children's college, all this stuff, So once I read that, I was like, man, I'm going to do something different. Let me go out, because every parent want their child to go to college, but they don't have the money to do it. So immediately I said, okay, if I take this survey and start talking to families, and all I did was, hey, my name is Douglas Eze. My company is doing a survey about college education planning for their for kids. Do you mind taking a few minutes and filling out the survey for me? And then they read it, they say, yeah, sure, we could do it. People are always willing to help. And you got to present yourself well. Don't look like, talking to people about money, you got to look like, like you at least, I get a suit. I only have one suit that I wore all the time, but it was a nice suit. So, and I wore a suit that made me smile, because there's some things you wear that you feel like, man, I don't look good today. But you wear a suit that makes you feel like you're on top of the world, so you could talk to anybody. So that's what I did, and I'll go out and they're like, yeah, sure. Some people said, no, I'm not interested, I don't have any children. Some people say, yeah. And I also did it in grocery stores. When I see people with their children, I go up to them and say, can you fill out this survey for me? And they're like, yeah, sure, no problem, I'll do it. And they fill it out, you just ask them, if I could, one of the main questions, the real catch question was, if I could show you how to plan for your child's college by you putting away anywhere from $1 to $5 a day towards your child's college tuition, education, and would that be something you would like to do? And you could have X number of dollars saved for them, between $1 to $5. $1 a day, $30.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm getting those premiums. Once they commit to it, that means I'm going to get between $1 to $5 from this person.
That's right.
A day. So that was the catch right there. And they say yes. So that becomes, so they check off the box. Yes. They check off the box, and then they give me their phone number, their name, the best time to reach them, their address, and they list how many children they have. That's a lead, right?
Wow. So you're like, yeah, let's do $5 times all three of those.
Thank you. So that became premium, but I didn't even know what I was doing anyway until I showed it to my manager, and she was like, whoa, all right, let's go. We got on the phone, and I remember they remember me, because I was telling them exactly, hey, we made you fill out a survey, just following up with your body to check off the boxes, and boom, we set up an appointment.
It's interesting. You just mentioned something. You said, hey, look, I didn't even really know what I was doing, but you went out, you got all these surveys, 100 surveys, came back, called them, had the appointments, ended up writing a bunch of business. I find that there's a couple of types of people, who enter this industry. That you have the, one type where, they say, look, I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I'm just going to set these appointments. I'm going to rely on my mentor, my trainer, help me out with the conversations. or, I'm going to, introduce them to you. You can talk to them about, whatever we're doing on the business side. And then you have the other type of person that's like, well, wait, I think I got to know everything. I feel like I need to know everything before I actually make a move. I don't want to set any appointments until, I need to know every aspect. I need to know all the products. I need to know exactly what to say. Now we know which one tends to work better. We know which one tends to work better, but I want you to share which one you think tends to work better in this business.
Man, I like the go-getter, the person that is gonna go for it, and just jump in and do it. Because there's a lot of agents that say, oh, I want to get all the knowledge so I can go help my family members. I can go do this. And your family members are going to do business with you. Because they don't see you as the financial person. What you going to teach them? You broke still. You still broke. Just because you have your license don't mean you know this stuff. Bring an expert that has been doing it. Let them help with it. Of course, especially if that expert that hopefully you have a mentor that's not about just the money, that's about helping people. Because there's a lot of, shady people in this industry too, right? So bring somebody that you've watched their character, that you say, okay, this person somebody I can work with that has the best interest for my client. And you even become a client first. Don't go write yourself up, because a lot of agents, I want to write myself, I could get my own commission. That's you're not going to learn nothing. Let somebody else. My manager back then was my agent that wrote me up, and wrote up my kids. Not because he never asked, even as I grew in the business, even one of my mentors that also my upline the business that introduced me, I went to him. I said, listen, write it, sign it, show. I could have got the commission, but no. I look at it like this: if I'm not licensed and I'm looking to get business or get a life insurance product or whatever the case might be, somebody needs to write me up. So all of a sudden, because I'm licensed now, I give up that commit. Don't let the manager that introduced me to the business, I want them to write it. Let them get the commission. Let them win. I'm supporting their business for them even introducing me to this business. That's the way I see it. Strong. And then I go out there and because I believe I'm going to get other people. There's millions of people out there. So what's my little sale going to do? Right. So I go after other people and and make my money that way.
That was an important point. You said, letting your manager write your business, that was a part of your education. Because if you wrote it, what are you really learning? What kind of strategy are you building? Whereas if your manager, if your leader, your mentor, if they are helping you to put this in place, then what they're doing is they're showing you how to put it in place for somebody else.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. And you get to see how, and then you could ask questions, how did you do it this way? Okay, why are we doing it this way? And then now I understand how the product is, even though I've seen them do it before, but I also want them to do it for me too, because I might do it and not build it correctly. And I've seen agents, when they come on board my organization, they go write themselves up, okay. And then a month or 2 months later, I'm doing a training and they start, I messed up. I really did it. Can you review it for me? I'm like, why I got to review for you? I'm like, you had the opportunity, but that's the mentality. That's the scarcity mentality that most people have. Instead of abundance, and I look at that like, look at this. This is a huge industry, huge. There's so much opportunity to make money in this business, but you got to be willing to learn. You got to be willing to, put in the work and do it correctly. And if you do it right and you're willing, you don't steal from people, because there's so many people that they constantly steal from folks and never, ever give credit to where they got the idea from, right? Or they take your stuff and they go somewhere else and do business with it. And again, nothing wrong with that. But for me, what I've done, you know, especially when I meet people that I know, like there's another mentor I have. I mean, I buy his software, I use his software to do presentations, and I go to his mastermind, you know, and I pay money. Why? Because I want to, now he's giving me the right to use his stuff because I paid for it. You know, some people want to use your stuff without paying,
for it, right.
And they don't understand that, oh man, you know, even like the book you bought, right? You paid for that.
Mm-hmm.
Now that knowledge is out there for you to use all day, every day, right? But some people don't want to. Some people go make copies.
Right, right. Hey, look. No, and not only did I buy the book, I read the book. That's
right.
Another component as well, you know. But yeah, no, I think that's big. I was funny. I was having another conversation earlier today. It seems like you're touching on some reoccurring themes that have just been coming up in conversations I've been having recently. Whereas we were talking about, you know, what is you know, information and knowledge worth. You know, if there was someone who said, hey, I'm going to spend my time with you to teach you everything that I know. In this example, we're saying, hey, somebody's charging $30,000 to, you know, spend time as a consultant, and you know, hopefully, you know, they would get something out of it. And hey, would it be worth it? And you know, my vantage point was like, well, it's kind of based on the value that's being brought, right? And if the knowledge can be applied, you know, for some results. And if somebody is sharing that knowledge and it can actually get you results, it can get you to where you want to go, then it's probably worth it.
It is worth it, 100%. You know, if the information that you pay for, you know, is what it is that you're gonna get out of that.
Yes.
You know, unfortunately, what happens is so many people pay for stuff, and the person that they're just a good marketer, because there's a difference. You know, there's people that are good at marketing. They could sell you water, you know, that, or even air that you breathe. They could sell it back to you. Mm-hmm. You'd be like, man, okay, I just bought this. Not realizing that, you know what, they didn't even know what it was that they and once you get in, you realize I just bought air, because that's all it is.
Right.
So you gotta be careful who you choose to align yourself with. You know, everything that sounds good, that there's a lot of, you know, I always do this when people hit me up for something. For example, like you know, like today, people are hitting you up on Instagram. Oh, you know, I could help you become, you know, influencer so you can have more followers. Right. You know, the first thing I do, I go look at their page.
Yeah.
And see, all right, if you're this great guru, let me see how many people like your post. So you have 140,000 people. Yeah. Only 20 people are liking your post.
Nobody's liking your post. Some's not.
Some I didn't know, you know. Yeah. Or you're telling me you're a credit repair guru. And I said, okay, show me your credit report. Let me see. Oh, I can't show you my credit report. It's private. So what the hell? Why I gotta do business with you? You gotta show me your credit. Let me see if you have the 800 score. You know, oh, you have 600. All right, when fix your credit and then
come on, right? Right.
Right. So you just gotta be careful, you know, and because people will take advantage of you if you don't know any better.
No, absolutely. That's true. So for you, you know, as we, you know, kind of come into this phase of your career, you know, you're at a point where, you know, you've even taken on a co-ownership role, you know, of American Classic. How did that start? How did that kind of come about? Because you don't just go from being a producer, okay, I started my office and now, you know, I co-own an agency. How do you evolve into that place? And then I want to go into talk about the technology and all the other stuff you're doing too.
Right. So yeah, man. So, you know, when I worked with the lady that got me into this industry, and then that company went out of business because the owner just wasn't doing it correctly. So my mentor, she left the business. I actually wrote about her in the book. Her name is Lorraine. She left, and then she called me one day and said, hey, you know, I have another company I want you to check out. So I left with her to this other company. You know, I worked with that guy, you know, for a while. I learned a lot from him, but again, again, this industry, there's a lot of shady people. So he did his thing, and I called my guy that does my medical exam. And I said, man, dude, do you know any company in this industry, anybody that is decent, that, you know, that if he says yes is yes, if he says no is no, that I could go work with? And he said, man, there's this, you know, outfit, you know, they're not big, they're a company called American Classic Agency. You need to check out the guy. You know, give me the guy's name, Mike. And I called Mike up. I said, Mike, man, you know, I got your name from a gentleman named Wilkie that does our exams. He's like, oh, okay. He said, come on for an interview. I said, all right, cool. So I went and we sat down and he showed me the company, the comp system, the program, the product. I'm like, wow, okay. I'm ready to go. And that's how I got in with American Classic. And I started working and I worked my way up and became top producer, one, and then built an agency underneath the company because they allow you to do that and you could brand yourself. You don't have to have the name American Classic. You know, so I built my brand, Lago Financial, and I have agents in my organization. And from there, as we continue to grow, number one was my business partner now, Anthony Stewart. He was, when I'm number one, he's number two. When he's number one, I'm number two. So we're going at it. And but eventually the owner, you know, Jerry Policastro, decided to retire in the business because he was older, you know, and he's like, you know, he wants to spend time with his grandkids and all that. So he made us an offer and we bought the company from him. You know, he didn't want to sell it to an insurance company because they were interested in buying. Sure. So me and Anthony and his executive assistant, you know, Pam, she also, you know, was the three of us that purchased the company. And so it's been great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think that, you know, what's really phenomenal about that is, you know, just stepping into that, you know, equity and that ownership position in an organization. Frankly, I've never seen a Black person that owned an IMO, you know, until I met you. Like even when we were in DC and you said, I own an IMO, I'm like, what?
You know, it is. I mean, you know, and because again, it's there's so many things you got to do to become an IMO.
Yeah.
You know? And for those of you that don't know what that is, an independent marketing organization. You know, it's a different level from a GA and all the other stuff. You know, but in the independent world, it gives you, you know, a lot of leverage. But what we do, and one thing that we like about what Jerry's built with the company, because he never sold life insurance before. He wasn't an insurance agent like you and I. He actually worked for insurance companies and designed commission. It was like a consultant. And he designed commission products, reinsurance products for insurance companies. So it was very, so he understands the whole aspect of the business. So what he does for us that makes it unique is he protects the sales force, you know, and he believes in making sure that the sales force, they're the engine that's carrying the company, and he believes in profit sharing and all this stuff and the give back, the agents. Let the agents be happy, they'll produce. Let the agents do, if the agents do well, leadership will be fine. He always believed that. And he always believed in making sure if he ever leaves, he wants the agents to own the company, you know, which is the same thing we have going on right now. You know, we're building the organization for the agents. That's why we're not looking to sell to anybody. You know, we've been approached by hedge funds to come.
Well, I know you're getting calls. I know you're getting calls.
Of course. You know, but we're going somewhere, we're doing something, because if we sell it, then we lose control, because then it becomes corporate, and we're independent for a reason. You know, we don't want to be corporate controlled. We want to stay independent. We want to be able to still serve the communities that we want to serve, which is the middle income America, that they're underserved. And one thing that we do is we help families get out of debt in less than 9 years using casual life insurance. And we have a relationship with a software company and an insurance company that allows us to marry the two together. So we're able to mimic, you know, and pay off and use the life insurance as a line of credit to pay off debt.
Yeah.
So people are paying off their debt without using their money to do it, without making extra payment and all the other stuff that we've been told to do. You know, because a lot of times when you think about, oh, you got to make extra payment on your debt, you got to do all this. But that's wealth that you're transferring away to somebody else.
Right. So just with a little tweaking and adjustment with the software, then you can say, okay, well, if you allocate this over here, boom, you got your life insurance policies being funded, just pull this cash value, boom, keep chipping away and chipping away and chipping away. I think that is really innovative, you know, nowadays, because we do have technology that can be utilized, and to pair it up, you know, with life insurance. It's I've seen it done in like a mortgage capacity before, in something similar. So I think I just think that definitely is the wave of the future, you know, because it's right there. It kind of puts the control in the client's hands to know exactly where they need to be. And it's not because it's something that, you know, you're recommending or we're saying. It's like, look, here it is.
Right.
The system is telling you what you need to do. Yeah.
I mean, it makes it easy to prospect, because when you think about it, everybody has debt. Everyone has some form of debt. So
plenty of student loans out here, you know.
Student loans, credit card debt, financing the car debt, all that. You know, because one thing I always talk about is every dollar you earn, 34% of your dollar goes to interest rate. 34%. Then 40% goes to taxes. So between the government and the banks, that's 74% of your wealth that's gone. So we have to find ways, instead of telling our clients, you need to cut down on your lifestyle. You need to start eating ramen noodles. You need to stop drinking Starbucks coffee, and you do that math for them. Oh, you know, for every you spend $5 a day on Starbucks coffee, you could be doing this. It doesn't matter how much they cut down their coffee. If you don't address the places that they're losing money unknowingly and unnecessarily, you will never help them. You know, you will never help them, because at the end of the day, if you have one thing I teach is this: money is like water. If you put water in a cup and you sit it there, it's going to tell you, listen, what am I doing in this cup? I'm water, I'm powerful. Are you going to drink me, or are you going to just let me sit here? If you ignore what he's saying to you, guess what the water is going to start doing? Starts evaporating. Yeah. After months, yet you're not going to see any water there. If there's a small hole in that cup, you fill it up, it's going to drain. You go back, man, where's my water? It's gone, because there's a hole that is draining out all that water. Same thing with your money. Money doesn't like sitting around doing nothing. Either you're spending money or saving money. So when that comes, the question, the money say, okay, what do you want to do with me? Because somebody else is going to use me. You need to make a decision. So what is the holes in your financial bucket? Yeah. Where are the holes? You know, taxes, that's a hole in your financial bucket. You know, interest rate on debt, that's a hole in your financial bucket. Interest that you're earning in your savings account, that's a hole in your financial bucket. Because where do most financial advisors tell people to put their money in? For emergency savings. Where you put it? In a savings account at a local bank. 6 months, 12 months, your hard-earned money, they tell you to go put it in a bank. In that whopping 0.01%. Right. So you're already losing money going in. So there's all this risk factor that affects your money that nobody ever talks about. So my job is to plug the financial holes first. Plug the holes, and that's what we teach our financial advisors, and say, listen, teach your clients how to plug the financial holes. So they, once it's plugged, you can now fill up their financial bucket. Love it, love it. So you built the company, you've educated, you've won awards, you've been top entrepreneur, you've been $1 Million Roundtable, you've been top financial advisor, like you've had all the accolades. You've written the book. What keeps you motivated now? Like what's driving you to keep doing this, keep moving forward? Yeah, man. I mean, right now with the new position as the owner of American Classic, you know, the goal now is to take the company to a whole new level. You know, because now we're agents that now own the IMO. We're not just we didn't just boom start. You know, we understand what our agents are going through, so we're looking to build it and take it to a whole new level, and also inspire other minority agents that are coming on board, right? Because again, you know, we want to change the way this industry is looked upon at, especially for our folks. We have a lot more people in our community that need our help, you know, I mean, that need somebody like that look like you and I to advise them properly, to tell them about cash value life insurance, to tell them about term insurance, so they understand all aspects of life insurance, not just one. Unfortunately, for so many insurance agents, they just focus on one product. You know, it might be whole life and they call it, oh, this is the best whole life since life bread. Or the ones that sell just term insurance, this is the best term since, and then the ones that sell IUL today, oh, this is the best thing. And all three of them are selling the same thing from three different companies. Each of those companies have all those products. See, that's one first thing to myself. I said, wait a minute. If I'm saying this is the only product that's good, why does that company have this other two products? The obviously insurance company are manufacturing companies. They manufacture product. They're like a car manufacturing company. And then they have different dealerships that they ship the products to. And whatever the dealership want to do, it don't matter to the manufacturer.
Right. We got them all, but you sell this one, go ahead. That's all you do is turn, here you go.
You know, but they manufacture whatever product you want, we got it. You want a Mercedes, you know, truck, we got it for you. Right. You want this, we build it for you. So they do all that. So at the end of the day, that's the same thing with the insurance company. They're a manufacturing company. They manufacture product, and that's what they do.
So, you know, taking it from that standpoint, you know, even understanding the varieties and I really admire like your approach even to your business and your agents. Hey, it's agency owned. It's really, you know, client focused, you know, as far as, you know, the needs and finding not just one particular thing, but hey, it's the right thing for that person in their application. The book, at what point did the book come about? Because this kind of speaks to some of those concepts too. So when did you write the book? I mean, I know what year, but you know, at what point, you know?
So I wrote it, I started writing the book about 2013, and then finished in 2014, you know, and you know, yeah, so it was just, and I wanted to have something that, you know, puts me as an authority in the conversation. Yeah. And as you can see, I also copyrighted that word over there, that creating generational wealth. It's copyrighted.
This is yours. So nobody else can say creating generational wealth.
I mean, they could
see, because he does it. You do have the little symbol, the symbol here to write.
Hey, you know, you got trademark stuff, you know, you have an idea, trademark it.
There you go. No, absolutely. So the book is there, then the technology firm. So now you've been branching outside of just the financial services space now as well. Can you speak a little bit about that? Just how these opportunities create other opportunities? Because you got some real estate stuff too. You got a lot going on.
So yeah, so you know, I've been blessed with this industry to be able to, you know, save well in life insurance. That's where I put my money. I save all my money in life insurance. You know, I have about 16 policies as of today. I put a lot of money in life insurance. And so those money, they say, and one thing I teach is you save first and invest later. You know, you don't just jump and invest. You save first and invest later so that you take your time. And every level of money has different opportunities. $1,000 has an $1,000 opportunity. $5,000, $10,000. The key is you keep adding money to your savings until the right opportunity presents itself. Now you could tap into it. You know, if an opportunity presents itself for 100,000, you have the money, you invest. If it presents itself and you don't have 100,000, then you got to find an opportunity that you can invest in. And it doesn't matter what it is at the end of the day, as long as you believe in it and it's something that you know can work. For example, real estate. I don't like to be a landlord, so I go through real estate in a different way. I wait for opportunities to present themselves where someone might not be able to afford an investment property that they bought. Then I jump in and take it over. And they walk away because they want to keep their credit right, but they run out of money. Then we take it over, pay off the hard money lender, and now we own those deals. We might have to do some little work on it, but I didn't have to go through the headache in the beginning.
Yeah.
There's always going to be opportunities that's going to present themselves. So now, I mean, I also have a technology company, where we do tracking device. We track cars, fleets, business to business, personal to person. And what makes it unique is, first I met the guy from a trip. I was traveling. I went to Cameroon and I met a young man that designed the software himself. He's a coder. And he said, he showed me the technology. I'm like, wait a minute. This stuff, he said, yeah. He said, if they steal your car right now, what are you going to do? I said, well, call the police. He said, what if I could show you a way that you just send a text message to your car and your car will text you back and you could immobilize the car. It'll start going from 90 miles an hour, 80 miles, 70. I'm like, what? He said, yeah. He said, that's what he has. And he's been featured on CNN and BBC already, showing his technology. And then the next thing he said to me, he said, well, I'm also connected to satellite system. So I could find a car right now in like 20 countries in Africa. I'm like, wow. So I said, so what do you want? He said, well, he doesn't know anything about marketing, business, just needs money. And I said, well, I'm down. I kind of know a little bit about marketing. I know business and I got money. So let's jump on. And then we became partners, 50-50 partners. And then I brought the company and rebranded it. And now we're here in the US as well. So now we're able to find cars in 99% of the world, not just 20% of Africa, the world now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's the name of the technology?
It's called Camway.tech. Camway, K-A-M-W-E, Camway.tech.
Yeah, it really is. It is phenomenal. I remember you sharing something about it, and I was looking at the website. I'm like, this is kind of innovative. It's something that you would think should be in just every vehicle, like right out of the factory.
Right, and and that's our vision. That's our goal. Because we actually had a deal that we were about to close, but it didn't work out because the president of Nissan was having issues. He was having issues, and he had to get out or something. Yeah. So that had to slow down for me because they wanted us to be an OEM for an electric car that they were looking to build, electric truck.
Was that a couple of years ago? Was that in the last couple of years? Okay, yeah. I know it was. Yeah, okay, I remember that.
Yeah,
right.
So but we keep pushing and keep moving forward. So right now we're doing some amazing things. We're working. We have and everything. One thing I always believe is when it's God's time, it's God's time.
Absolutely.
So we needed time to tighten up some things anyway with the technology, before we jump out there. So, and everything is tight. So now we have clients in South Africa. We have clients in Nigeria, different places that is using our technology. We just signed a 3-year contract with a big trucking company in South Africa. So we're excited about that. It's huge, man. So we're coming, everything's baby steps.
What's the end goal for you? Like when it's all said and done, what's Doug Ezzy's legacy?
Man, I mean, it has different folds because one is to always where people would say, man, I met that guy, I knew him, and he did this, he changed my life or whatever, whatever it is, but it's always going to be positive because at the end, it's not just for me that I'm doing it for, it's for my children's children. Yeah. So wherever they show up in life, somebody sees them and they give my name, they'll know, they'll say, wow, okay, yeah. and they open doors for them and give them opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. It says, I remember I heard Ice Cube say, quote, it's not about what you do that's great. It's about how many people you help become great.
Exactly.
And you definitely doing it. Hey, look, so for anybody that wants to get in contact with you, they want to reach out to Douglas Eze, and the real Douglas Eze, because if you're on social media, let me tell you, it's a lot of people pretending to be you. I don't know if you know this.
I'm telling you, they are, but what are you gonna do? So for me, the social media you see on Instagram is I am Douglas Eze. There's no course, so there's not just I am Douglas Eze, because I was the first that put it out there, right? So everybody else is not real. So don't tap in. I don't sell Bitcoin. I'm not going to DM you to buy Bitcoin or nothing. But I'm Douglas Eze is on IG, and then I also have the course that I don't promote it. It's just there for people that hit me up that might not be a part of my organization that just want to learn. And it's for insurance course that I kind of share a lot in there. The website is cashvalueking.org. Cashvalueking.org.
We'll have it displayed at the bottom of the screen as well. And if somebody does, look, if they do want to get with American Classic Agency, they want to study with you, they want that mentorship, or they want to learn from somebody on your team, how do they reach out to American Classic as well?
Yeah, very simple. We don't charge any fees to join. We do a lot of training. We actually provide a lot of opportunity, pay bonuses every month on submitted business. We're the only agency in the country that pay bonuses on submitted business, because we believe in
submitted business.
Submitted business.
Not issued business, but submitted business.
Yes. So you and then we pay bonuses every quarter on paid business, and annual bonus on paid business. Why is that? Well, because we believe in persistency and placement. So we teach our agents, don't just throw it against the wall to see if it fits, because you're hurting the client. Process the case, do it correctly, and let it get placed. And if it get placed, you get a bonus at the end of the year. You get a bonus every quarter throughout the year. So, and then we give profit sharing for the people that help us build the organization too, our managers. So, but plus, if you're interested in checking us out, www.aclassic.com. aclassic.com.
aclassic.com. And any closing words for anybody who might be on the fence thinking about joining this business, anybody who's new to this business, maybe even just a summarization of your life before having a license versus after having a license, that you could share with somebody who may be thinking about coming into this space.
Yeah, so this is one of the best industries to be in, and the reason is, one, you get to learn about money and help families, protect their money and help them change their legacy, and also help them, if something happens, change their zip code. This industry controls 75% of the wealth in America.
Thank you.
Financial service industry is one. It's not a, you're not going to get glamorized, and they're not going to put you in front of Forbes or nothing. They're not going, but guess what? The families are going to thank you when you bring that check. And one thing that we're teaching our agents to do is teach them how to make sure that families have proper coverage. $1 million, because not a lot of folks, especially in the African American community, have $1 million of life insurance. It's so sad, because when somebody dies, their family gets $100,000, $200,000. What, sounds good, it's good, but that money is going to be gone pretty fast. So we teach how to even go a step further, making sure I do what they call family planning meetings with my clients, where they, I encourage them to bring their kids and let's talk, and show them, especially the ones that we set up, different structures for, to create and keep that wealth in the family, because families don't talk about money to each other. In fact, you see husbands and wives hiding money from each other. But when you die, all that stuff is going to come to light anyway. So why are you hiding it? Your children don't know what's going on in your finances. When you die now and then, they're struggling, trying to figure it out. And then by the time they figure it out, it's too late because all the sharks have taken it from them, you know? So teach them now, let them know. Like my kids know what's going on. They know what type of trust I have. They know who the successor trustee is. They know all those things. They know what that means too. And they know what role they're playing because everybody has a role to play to get in this easy family wealth. You know, because you ain't playing your role, sorry, you know, I don't, you know, because when I'm gone, meaning the rules are already created. So if they tell you that, hey, you know, you're just getting the salary, but you have no say so in the family business, that's because we didn't see you bringing any value to the family legacy. You just pay your salaries to stay away. Go do your stuff and that's it. But you're not a part of the family legacy, and it's okay. I don't feel bad about it. I'm good with that.
Hey, that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you create generational wealth, right? you need to add value to the legacy. No, it's wonderful. I love it. Actually, it gave me an idea for my son. I got 4 sons. I'm like, yeah, they gotta bring some value to this.
Yeah, everybody has a role that they're playing. They're That's employees right now, employees of the family business. You're the president, the wives, the vice president, the children are employees.
You know, we do say that. We say, I say, well, I'm the CEO of the house, you the COO. You the COO, you the operations officer, you keep it in charge. But and my boys, you know, they are great. But at the same time, I'm like, hey, y'all, this is a conversation that we have to make sure that they know that they have a responsibility as well to get, you know, what's coming to them. So look, Douglas, thank you so much, you know, for taking the time this evening. And we will make sure that, you know, your information is definitely put out there through our platforms so that individuals can communicate. I just have a feeling that this is not going to be the last time that we talk on this platform. I know it won't be the last time we talk in general, but definitely won't be the last time we talk on this platform either. And for those that are listening, maybe you were inspired this evening. You had to be. You had to be. I mean, my man came here with no family, went to the metro, collected 100, came back, built a business, grew as an agent, built a team, opened a firm, bought the IMO, went to real estate, bought a technology company. I mean, come on. Who you know doing it better? Who you know doing it better? Maybe you heard something that sparked your interest, motivated you, and made you say to yourself, you should get a license. I would say so. Until next time, have a good one.